What's up, Starcraft fans? This video is brought to you by Lucinous Impudence, who support me on Patreon. Pulse tankier supporters or higher are guaranteed one video redemption per month. This month, the request: as JiNara in Nexus Co-op, maintain at least 3 Archons for 10 minutes. The Archons must live sick until the end of the game and have full stack on all its abilities before the game ends. Play on Nexus Coop composition and pick 3 mutators of your choice that increase enemy attack wave survivability, and at least 1 mutator must be Nexus Coop exclusive. Okay, so let's do Nexus Co-op, create lobby, start game, loading screen. So the challenge calls for using JiNara, and my masteries will be sacrifice cooldown. I have to use sacrifice a lot to get the energy that I need to make Archons. I'll explain later. Sacrifice resource refund, I'll be sacrificing a lot of guys here, and current boost efficiency so I can have faster economy. So you will go on missed opportunities. This is the longest map and will give me the most chances to get the Archons to survive for 10 minutes. I'll do walking infested, so I'm allowed to use mutators that will help me with this challenge. Help me, actually. It's true, it will help me, because the walking infested constitute as more health that will attack the Archon, and the Archon will attack. So there's a bit of help that it gets me, because when the Archon receives damage, it actually gains a larger health pool and larger health regen. So it actually helps me when the Archon gets attacked, and when the Archon attacks, it gets more powerful also. So that's why Walking Infested is one of the mutators. The second one is Hardened Will. That's number 52. The hybrid will last longer, and also it's not that impactful of a mutator, all things considered. There are really strong ones here, but the challenge said the mutators that increase enemy attack survivability. So that will definitely help the enemy survive longer. And the Walking Infested, again, they help them survive by having more enemies. So there you go. And finally, the last one is a Nexus Co-op exclusive. So I will do Deadly Companion. The hybrids gain various minions to enhance their, well, fighting capabilities. So let's start the game. Here we have a replay, because it took a lot of try. And it wasn't very easy. I had to do one eventually off screen and just record after the fact. So my build consists of just making lots of workers as standard. So how JiNara works is, in the beginning of the game, you'll be given a choice of 1 of 3 prestiges. Each of these prestiges is in the top bar, and the choice you make will affect how JiNara is set up for the rest of the game. It's pretty interesting how this prestige is set up. So the Archons, I heard, are only available on the 3rd prestige. So the 3rd prestige will have JiNara able to gain sacrifice buffs. So whenever you sacrifice a unit, you'll get various buffs, and I'll show you one of them later on. In fact, I'll show you one of them soon. So I've gone for a pylon and the gas. I'm harvesting gas because it's gonna keep my guys working. I don't really need to tech up yet anyway. So I've selected the 3rd prestige, and now I have 2 top bars. The first one is the sacrifice. So I'll use sacrifice on this probe. You can see the sacrifice has been used, and the probe gets a lot of zapping power, and you can see it's making short work of these rocks, and that will allow me to expand pretty fast. It's like an overcharge, except you overcharge a probe instead of a pylon. And now the Nexus goes down using the same probe, and I just send it wherever, see what it can, and determine that the enemy is Terran. So that's pretty good information, because if it's Protoss, it'll be harder to destroy, and there are fewer units. Now I want more units so that my Archon will get stronger, because remember, the more my Archon gets attacked, the stronger it gets. And I don't need a lot of tanky units, and maybe some tanky units just to keep the fight longer, but if I get surrounded, it's gonna be bad. So I need just a few to survive long enough, being the hybrids, and most of them to go down pretty quickly. Warp gate's done, so I start the cybernetics core. So you can see the second top bar here is an evolve. So it's like evolve a unit to become something else. And that is how I'll make my Archons. So if you watch the gateway here, I have a supplicant, a havoc, an ambusher or a slayer, a blood hunter, an ascendant, and this a derp thing. Those are not Archons. And you might be thinking, well, the ascendant is a high Templar, right? You just merge them, you get an Archon. That's not how it works with JiNara, apparently. How you make Archons is you get a blood hunter, a dark Templar, and use the second ability, the second top bar, to morph the blood hunter or the dark Templar into a Archon. And that's how you get Archons. So I need to get 3 of those and make sure they live for 10 minutes and reach the end of the game. So now I have 50 energy. The 50 energy is important because the 50 energy is what it costs to turn a blood hunter or a dark Templar into the Archon. So you can see I used the sacrifice again, and you can see every time you sacrifice, the energy bar here goes up a little faster. So I actually need to spam the sacrifice so that I'll have more energy to turn Dark Templar into Archons. JiNara here essentially has the same attacks, a little buff, but essentially the same attacks as does Alarak. So now the first attack wave should be on the way. While this is happening, I'm just teching up at home. Pylon starts, more workers. I just use the Sonic Orb so you can see. Actually, one more thing. I changed the mutator. Initially, I used the. I almost forgot to tell you guys. I initially used the Deadly Companion mutator, but it was making the hybrids too insane. Like some of them got symbiotes, and they became like really insane, and pretty much almost impossible to destroy in time. So I changed the mutator. This endurance training, the longer the game goes, the more health enemies have. It's kind of like the Deadly Companion, except it's less insane, and it gets spread out later on, and it ramps up instead of just really difficult all game long. So it starts out okay. You can see in that first attack wave, the distraction wave wasn't able to destroy all those Marines because they have additional health. You might have noticed earlier on, I clicked a Marine and it showed 59 health instead of the usual 45, so that's already a buff in that respect. I'm making a slaughter. So it's not a slayer, it's a stalker. So I use the evolution ability to morph this into a dark offering. This is very important because the dark offering is the one that will help the most in keeping my dark Archons alive. My Archons alive. So how the Archon works is when I morph this Blood Hunter, this Dark Templar, into the Calamity Butler, or the Archon, you can see that it has 3 bars at the bottom. So the first one is called their sanity. It goes down over time unless replenished, and if the sanity, this 200 out of 200, goes to 0, if the sanity drops to 0 out of 200, it just dies. It just goes kaput, and I think takes some army with it. The second one is its health. So right now it gets 500 health, but as you can see, once it starts getting attacked, it gets stacked. So you can see at the bottom here, there's a 33 number here, 49 now, and each time it gets stacked, so you can see this number also goes to its energy meter, which also increases its health. You can see it was at 560, now it's at 840, and the more it gets attacked, the more health pool, the more maximum health pool it gets. So I actually want this to get continuously attacked, but not too strong attacks. That's why I wanted a weak composition like Bio. This was a pretty lucky draw. I wanted something like Bio and something like Walking Infested, so that they will weakly attack my Calamity Butler, so that I can out heal them. So you can see I once again use Sacrifice on the probe, and it's going to town on this Bio. Just doing that damage. I'm not really trying to get the bonus here. I'm just trying to use as much sacrifice as possible so I can get more of this energy. Again, I need more energy to get all these guys. It costs energy to make this Ascendant Stalker, this Dark Offering. And it costs energy also to get this Archon, this Calamity Butler. So now you can see it has 207 stacks of getting attacked, and that gives it 1380 health. Pretty good. That's like 2.5 times its original health. Now you can see there's another stack here. There's a 5 stack here on the middle of the bottom middle of the command card. That is the attack speed counter. So every time an Ascendant sacrifices a supplicant, the stack goes up. So once I sacrifice more of these guys, well, let's wait for one. Yeah, you can see I used a sacrifice, and that went up from 5 to 6. So every time this goes up, the Dark Archon or the Calamity Butler attacks faster. So that's the challenge here. I need full stacks full of 3 of these, or 3 Archons with full stacks of these 2 buffs by the end of the game. I need 3 of them to survive for 10 minutes. And I need all of them to have full stacks of everything. So the sacrifice stack goes up to 10, and the getting attacked stack goes up to 500. So I'm halfway there. I'm up to 10 on the sacrifice stack, and I'm to 328 on the getting attacked stack. Once again, I use overcharge so that my energy bar can go up, and that will give me more energy. You can see this Dark Offering, this Stalker, this Ascendant Stalker, just buying or just sacrificing its energy, just shooting its energy toward the Calamity Butler so it can stay alive, so that its sanity meter doesn't go down. It stays at 200. Of course, it does so at the cost of its own sanity. It's going down, and it will end up getting cannibalized essentially by the Archon. So I need to keep making these Stalkers, or just keep fighting with my Calamity Butlers, so that they'll keep regenerating their health. And also, these Calamity Butlers do not lose sanity. They do not lose this shield thing while they're fighting. So I need them to keep constantly fighting, or they'll need to feed off of some of my Stalkers' energy. Got some guys here, but my probe is on it. Again, that helps me in 2 ways. That gives me energy, and that helps me defend this wave. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to click. I was kind of focusing so much on this fight in the front that I wasn't really able to focus on the fight here, where the siege tank is still wailing away at this poor little harvesting bot. Of course, our Ascendants are still Ascendants. They still work the same way as do Alarak Ascendants. Every time I sacrifice a supplicant, they gain stacks, they get more health, and their orbs get stronger. Yeah, now you can see this brought us 291. It has 300 health, and the hybrid has 2330 health, 2.3k health, and hardened shields. So it takes 233 attacks at max damage to to bring them down. 234 because there's extra 30. Actually 233. Yeah, 233. Anyway, so I've said another one, another Stalker that will give me more sanity pool, where my Archons can pull, energy from. That's really good. Meanwhile, you can see, where is it? Yeah, you can see the sanity is going down, but it was replenished quickly by the Ascendant Stalker right here. So I'm at 15 minutes, and I still only have 2 Archons. So missed opportunities normally lasts 30 minutes. So if I can get the third Archon by 20 minutes, that's gonna be fine. I will still be able to be on track to complete the challenge. So I use Psionic Orbs to delete most of these, but the Medevac has 350 health. So I use JiNara's other top bar. I forgot to mention, she has 3 charges of this ability here. The bottom right top bar, or ability, her ultimate basically, which is basically a nuke. It drops nukes on these guys. I believe this is the 3rd Archon. Yes, it is. Archon number 3 has arrived. And now I've made another Ascended Stalker, so I can keep getting energy to these guys. Now, stack-wise, this guy has full stacks. You can see it's all the way at 500 getting attacked stacks and 10 sacrifice stacks, and that gives it 2540 health. Not bad. This guy only has 54 stacks, needs to keep working on getting attacked. The other guy has full stacks. So I have 2 Archons with full stacks and 1 Archon that's only beginning. But the important thing is that it started around 17 minutes, so I need this Archon to live until roughly 27 minutes. If the game gets 27 minutes and these guys are still alive, that part of the challenge completed. You can see I still have a separate control group for this probe, so I can still make pylons everywhere, so I can warp in guys and have them help out in the fights and get more supplicants so that my Ascendants can keep being buffed. You can see this guy's 6 stacks already, 7 stacks now, so that's good. I just want my Ascendants to keep getting stronger and stronger because they're still my primary destroying force, not the Archons. The Archons look cool, but the main power, the real power, is still the Archons. You can see there's an attack wave here coming down, but the good news is I do have these probes here that I can overcharge if I'm only paying attention. Am I paying attention? No, I'm not paying attention. That's unfortunate. But the good news is that these pilots did buy me enough time to have my Archons waltz all the way back. By the way, I used the last top bar here. It's basically a nuke. It deleted all of those guys and allow my forces to run back here to protect this harvesting bot. This guy, I believe this is the lowest stack one. It's at 316 and full sacrifice stacks, so I'm almost there. I'm actually almost there. JiNara just here, just destroying all these guys. I think they're trying to focus down the Calamity Butler, but it's at the point where it's just out regenning, it's just out healing all the damage that the enemy is dealing. So it's pretty much invincible now, not immortal, invincible. Those are different things. It can still totally die, that's why it's not immortal. But the enemy pretty much cannot destroy it, that's why it's invincible. Again, 2 different things, guys. Immortal means no matter what happens, you can't die. But invincible means nothing does damage to you. You can be invincible, but not immortal. And you can be immortal, but not invincible. 2 different things. Let me give you an example of something that's immortal, but not invincible. Well, elves, or Sauron. Sauron's immortal, because even when the ring got destroyed in Lord of the Rings, he moved on. His spirit essentially just passed away from the physical realm, and it went back into, well, basically, I assume Mandos. It wasn't mentioned in the books, but the Valar and the elves aren't fully gone even when they're slain. The elves, for example, when the elves' bodies are slain in the Lord of the Rings lore, they go to Mandos, which is, well, Mandos is a place where the souls of the elves get stored, basically, until Dagorath. So that's an example of something that's immortal but not invincible. Something that's invincible but not immortal is well, this is the best example honestly that I can give, because they don't get damaged, but if their sanity goes to 0, they will die. This guy is 2,197 health, insane. This guy's at 1,200 health. The Thor's at 12,000 health. Super chonky. The fight of the chonkies and the primary damage dealer you can see are still these Ascendants. 68 on this. Oh, okay, maybe I'm mistaken. This Calamity Butlers 265. But then you know, maybe most of the 265 are the infested civilians that naturally wander into range of these Calamity Butlers. Maybe. As this Ascendant has 49 destructions, and you can see one difference of JiNara's Ascendants to Alarak's Ascendants is that they can go over 10 stacks. You can see I'm at 13 stacks on this guy. Pretty powerful. 11 stacks on this guy. 13. making more stalkers so they can sacrifice their sanity to keep my Archons alive. They are the most important units. I need to keep these guys alive. What is that? Oh my goodness, what are these? That's really funky. I have no idea what that is. I think it's the same effect as what happens when Arcturus parks a blimp, an Imperial Witness, over a building. Some graphical glitch causes the thing to go up. The light thingy to go up. See these dark offerings just giving themselves to keep my dudes alive, my main guys alive. As long as they're attacking, they're good. They are good. Okay, attack wave coming from the north. That's good. I don't have to travel a long distance. The main reason why I had difficulty with this challenge is that the travel distance is pretty long, and the Calamity Butlers are floating. They can float over cliffs, and that leaves the Dark Offerings behind, the Stalkers behind, and that puts them out of range. So the Calamity Butlers actually just run out of sanity because they run too fast for the Stalkers. That's a bit of a shame. So a double wave here, so I'll have to leave my Calamity Butlers to deal with this southern wave, while my Ascendants deal with the northern wave, and prove my point that the bulk of the damage is being done by the Ascendants. Because these Calamity Butlers, very powerful, but they're still working on these 500 health siege tanks. Meanwhile, my Ascendants throw a volley of Sonic Orbs and tanks are gone. Okay. Got some guys here. Yeah. The bulk of the damage is definitely from the Ascendants. That is undeniable. This guy's 15 stack already. Oh my goodness. 15 stacks. Oh, this one's getting destroyed. I'm actually way up position for this one. They have so much damage output. The Marine now has 164 health. Can you imagine? Marines with 164 health. I think Moro might be able to beat Cyril if his Marines had 164 health. Heck, I might be able to beat Cyril. I might be able to beat Cyril if my Marines had 164 health. I think so, yeah. I mean, it's insane. It's like quadruple the normal health of Marines. Can you imagine if one Marine had the health of 4? And he had like more than one of them? That's overwhelming. How many Bailings can a 164 health Marine absorb? Something like 5, 6? Maybe 6. That's insane. Imagine needing 6 Bailings to destroy one Marine. You don't need to split against them. They'd effectively be Archons. Well, not really, but effectively. Because they're so cheap. Can you imagine? 50 minerals for that much health. This hybrid has 3664 shields and 3664 health. That's effectively 7300 health. Okay. Oh, I believe this is the end of the game. I lost a bot earlier. I lost a bot here, and the other bot got into the base already. So the game actually ends at 29 minutes, and that is 12 minutes past the 17-minute mark when I made the third Archon. Let me check if all Archons have the stacks. So this first Archon here to the rightmost has 500 getting attack stacks and 10 sacrifice stacks. The middle Archon has 500 getting attack stacks and 10 sacrifice stacks. And the leftmost Archon has 500 getting attack stacks and 10 sacrifice stacks. And that is challenge complete. This was not fun to do. This felt like work. I'm gonna peel back the curtain a little bit. I had so many attempts here, and it was pretty frustrating. I wasn't even losing the game. I was actually winning pretty hard, like most of the time. But then I noticed that my Archon was fighting, was out of combat for a few too many seconds, and it suddenly ate my Ascendant army. Like, what? I looked and it just ate all my stalker energy, my stalker energy already. So it just ran out of stuff to eat, stuff to feed from, and then just kind of ate the rest of my army, which is pretty insane. This is something I would not recommend for most casuals, most beginners, and even most intermediate level players. You need to pay a lot of attention to your Ascendants. It's like an extra mutator in a way, where your forces have a timer, and if you don't send them to fight and keep them fed, and obviously also making sure they don't take too much damage, because a lot of the mutators just stack damage on top of damage. They'll just eat your whole army. They'll lose you the game. It's honestly, I probably would have an easier time if it's just pure Ascendant. Pure Ascendant would probably make this an easier game for me. Adding the Archon thing was just, I don't know, unnecessary challenge. It felt like a mutator just because I chose to go for a unit rather than something that I would go for because I needed something. Maybe in certain specific situations this would be helpful, but I need to engineer this win, basically. I need to engineer this mutator set just to be able to get these guys to survive for 10 minutes. How insane is that? Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea of what else to do, please leave it in a comment. I'll see you guys next time.